It isn't Pau yet, though. Pele made sure it isn't over. I'll go back up myself if I have to. Kaipo isn't getting better, Lei insisted. Maybe it was the lack of sleep blurring away the chaos and making the solution seem crystal clear, like looking through an old scuffed snorkel mask and only being able to see the fish right in front of her. Only the missing necklace was the fish, and Lei needed to catch it, get it, find it, whatever. Her brain was swimming. She just needed to hold it together long enough to get Kaipo back to normal. Then maybe he'd forgive her. Then maybe the nightmares would stop. "You are not going up the mountain," Tūtū said. Lei flinched at the finality of her tone. "I've got to do something." "Pretty sure we all know your chances of coming back alive a second time are slim to nada," Ilikea said before stuffing her mouth with a final bite of noodles. Lei sighed. Apparently, Ili had an attitude as a bat and as a girl. Tūtū patted Lei's shoulder as she pushed herself up from the chair to get the semi-full pan of noodles. "Eat, eat, get plenty more." She scooped more onto the serving dish. "Here's the thing," Tūtū continued. "Time is of the essence, yeah?" Lei looked back at the refrigerator. The calendar, hanging from a hook suction cupped to the side of it, showed a vibrantly colored illustration of a large, dark-skinned woman surfing above the current month of June. The big red circle around next Saturday that had seemed so far away last week now seemed like it was sneaking up fast. I know, I fly out in 2 Saturdays. There were only about 2 weeks left of Lei's vacation in Hawaii before she'd go back to Colorado. Back to the life where she was formerly known as Anna. This time, she'd be stepping off that plane proudly as Lei, her Hawaiian name. Dad'd probably be thrilled she was owning her culture. "That's not what I mean," Tūtū said darkly. Goosebumps crept up Lei's arms, and Makani blew out of the kitchen and hid in the curtains, causing them to billow. "I went go to the library this morning to do some research on the World Wide Web. Never found nothing. So I asked the librarian, you remember Mr. Chalk?" Lei nodded. The older Asian man frowned a lot when he was in the adult section, but did the best voices for keiki storytime. "He went help me search the Olelo Hawaii Nupepa, the Hawaiian language newspaper archives. Found this." Tūtū pulled a folded piece of paper out of her pocket and smoothed it on the table next to her plate. Tilting her head back and looking down her nose, she held the paper at arm's length to read the words out loud in Hawaiian before translating. "It's a mo'olelo. The author tells the story that everyone knows about how when there is death to the kino, body, the uhane, soul, separates and heads to the lena'a ka uhane, the leaping place of the soul." Everyone knows that? Lei wondered. Ili pointed at her with a chopstick. "The story that when a person's body dies, their soul jumps from the leaping place? Duh. Maybe if you stuck around more, something might stick in your brain." Lei whipped toward Ili, eyes narrowed at the Batgirl. She shrugged in a, "Yeah, I said that" way. Guilt gnawed at Lei's ribs. If she didn't know the basics, what if she made another mistake and screwed everything up again? Tūtū glanced at Lei around the piece of paper, pawed under her breath, then went on. "The soul, guided by ʻaumakua, makes it to the leaping place and begins the journey to becoming an ʻaumakua themselves. If an ʻaumakua doesn't guide it, the soul can become a kueva, a wandering spirit." Okay, that seemed straightforward enough. ʻaumakua guide souls to the leaping place so they can begin their own journey toward becoming ʻaumakua. Without the guides, souls could become... Wait a minute. Lei remembered that word. Kueva. She peered at Ilikea, who was now very focused on lining her chopstick up perfectly parallel to the edge of the table. "That's what you called me when we met. You said I was a kueva, a wandering spirit." She turned back to Tūtū. "Wandering spirits don't seem too bad." Tūtū narrowed her eyes at Ilikea. "The worst thing that can happen to one's soul is to be abandoned. Wandering alone, without one community, they turn into nasty buggers. Real rotten. They're not something to mess with." Lei swallowed and looked at Ilikea. Ilikea stuck out her chin, defensive. "Yeah, but had you met you? You were kinda awful." That stung. Yes, she was the screw-up. They'd already established that over the past week.